Hi everybody! Like my accessory? It's sewing night! So I'm literally wearing the sewing tape like any good seamstress would. But I'm not a seamstress and you don't have to be either. I swear, if you have a crafty bone in your body, then you will love tonight, and you may love playing with fabric as much as you love playing with paper, even if you don't think you do. I kind of think you might. So, is everybody joining in? Because we are gonna really need to use all of the time tonight to get through this little project, because, you know, an hour is not a lot of time to make, to do a sewing project, but I've tried to choose one that is sort of beginner enough that if you don't have any sewing experience, you'll be able to follow along, and you'll also be able to learn some techniques along the way. So we're going to make this little box pouch. Here's the pattern. It's a free pattern that I got off Craftsy, and I'm going to post a link. Are we getting people on right now? Are
yeah,
people
we have about
up?
30 right now.
Okay, so let me know if you want me to post the pattern so you can follow along, or whether or not I can post it after, and that's good. So if you want the pattern, I can take a second and put it up, and then we can link to it. But it's a fairly simple pattern. Like any pattern, there's parts of it that you think, this is written in Chinese and I have no idea what to do next, even in this easy pattern. It happens, like, for me anyway, in like every single sewing pattern I do. But you try to just push through and hope it turns out okay, and just kind of think like, well, you know, we're lucky we're not, you know, doing sutures in someone's body. It's just on a piece of fabric, so if it messes up, what the heck? It's not the end of the world. Okay, so as you saw, I posted earlier that I was going to dive into some of my amazing bundles, and I untied this one. Isn't this fabric just so gorgeous? Don't you love it, Sarah? Hi, say hi, Sarah.
Hi. Can everybody hear Jen okay? Somebody mentioned that it wasn't very loud, but is everyone overall okay, or?
I can speak up. I have the kind of voice that really carries, so. Anyway,
so we've got a couple people saying posting the pattern after would be okay, that they just like to watch now.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. I will post it after, and I'll also post a list of all the supplies and stuff like that that I'm using, so that if you're wondering along the way, know that I'm now getting in the habit of doing that as we go, or right afterwards. So you don't need to worry if you're wondering, what's that ruler or what's that cutter? I'm going to post it along the way.
And they can also re-watch the video on the Crafters Companion Facebook page later on at another date if they want to follow along at that time.
Yeah, so. It stays posted sort of indefinitely. You just have to scroll down and you will find all of the back episodes and this episode if you missed it live. The great part about being live, and I'm going to just come onto the ironing board and talk to you for a few minutes, that you get to interact with me and Sarah and each other, and so that's great. So if you have sewing questions, shout them out. Now's the time. Like I said, I'm not a seamstress. I'm not a pro. I'm just a crafter who likes fabric too. And sometimes it turns out, and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it's bumpy, but we're going to try to make this tonight, and I hope you're going to bear with me. And there's going to be a lot of steps, and I have the seam ripper on standby because, well, it's always on standby. That's the way it goes. People who think if you're good at sewing you don't use the seam ripper, you're wrong. Everybody uses the seam ripper. And the seam ripper, if you don't know, is the thing that takes the stitches out when you screw up. And mine is almost dull from using it so much.
It's probably because I used it that time when we were making wallets.
Yeah, everybody uses it. So what you can see I'm doing here is I'm just ironing my beautiful fabric sheets. And this is what is called a fat quarter. Hands up if you ever heard of a fat quarter. This is not an offensive term, even though if you call me a fat quarter, I will be offended. But a fat quarter is actually like a fairly common sewing term, and you might not, if you're not a regular sewer, you might not know what that really means. But a fat quarter is a standard measurement in sewing. And when you see those beautiful bundles like I have there, and in the shelves and all up there, and all a part of like the fabric, hoarding that's going on, if you get a fat quarter bundle, it means you're getting all the pieces usually in a designer's line of fabric, and they all measure 18 by 21 inches. And there's all kinds of patterns out there that simply call for fat quarters. So that means you don't have to go and buy yardage. You can get a pre-cut bundle, and then your fabrics are always going to coordinate, and they're really popular. They're also really popular because they're so pretty to buy, and yeah, whoever invented them was a genius.
Jeanette's mom used to say, if you want to be a good sewer, you need to have a good ripper.
Yeah, you need a good ripper. And you also need an iron, but luckily you don't need a good iron because my iron is the worst. If anyone out there works for an iron company, maybe you want to send me an iron because honestly, I've been using that iron since, it's my first and only iron, and it half the time leaves black marks on my on my fabric, but I haven't gotten a new one yet, and I think I'm holding out for something good, but anyway. All right, so with the box, I'm going to just follow along the pattern the same way you would need to follow along a pattern. And so the supplies needed tonight are 2 pieces of 10 by 12 inch fabric. And now because, Linda's asking what's a good sewing machine for a beginner. Okay, I will post a couple of really good sewing machines for a beginner, something that's not going to break the bank, but that also is going to grow with you, be good enough quality that you're not going to be turned off of sewing. Why don't we just do this right now while I'm here? I use the Janome Horizon. It's the Memory Craft 8200, and this is a pretty hefty machine. It wouldn't really be a beginner machine. It probably would be a little more expensive than a beginner machine. But this would be the kind of machine that, it does a lot, but it's very easy to operate. Now, this machine over here, just while we're talking about this is an embroidery machine. And So this is the Memory Craft 99, and you can see right here, right away, that this is whoa, space-aged. But this literally does all the same kinds of stitches, but it also has, you can put the embroidery hoop into it. And you can see here, my daughter Violet was obviously the last one who was embroidering a peacock. And she is 7 years old, and seriously can use it. So it's just a matter of getting comfortable with your machine, and eventually you will be comfortable with your machine. Even if you feel like your machine right now is not your friend, the more you use it, the more you'll like it. I swear. So I'll post my machines so you can just take a look at them, but I also have a Hello Kitty Janome machine for the kids, which is very easy to use, but also hardy, not like a piece of plastic. And I'll post some beginner machines because if we're just getting started, you don't need to break the bank. And honestly, I would encourage you to dig out your grandmother or your mother-in-law or somebody you know. So I guarantee you, somebody you know has a sewing machine in their basement that they're not using.
Or Kijiji.
Or Craigslist or something like that. They have a sewing machine that they're not using that you could borrow to see if you, want to get started. Hi, Nicola. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I just see you joined. That's great.
And Margie's just asking if that's a serger on the other table.
Yes, sorry. In the middle is a serger, also a Janome. And a serger is if you're going to be doing clothing. Let me see if I have a seam. Do you have a seam?
No, this is all raw.
Okay, come look at my pants here. Don't show my feet. So a serger is what would do that kind of a stitch. And that's if you're getting pretty hardcore and you don't want any fraying. And sergers, you probably don't need a serger right out of the gate, But if you do start making clothes, boy, the serger is great. So I'll post it. You can take a look. Anyway, so for this project, I am going to make this little pouch. And I kind of wanted to decorate it a little bit. I was thinking of using the, these are mixed media dyes. And I was going to cut out this little bird because mixed media dyes will cut fabric and many layers of it. And so I kind of thought that would be cool to put on the outside of my marker bag. Lately, so you know with the colorista, like you know the whole adult coloring craze, like I tend to take markers places with me. And even though I have like great marker storage over there, like I'm constantly taking the colorista markers out of the container and bringing them places with me, and I could use a little pouch. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do a sewing project, you guys, you know, all that kind of stuff. I might as well make something that I know I'm going to use for stuff that I know you guys have too. Everybody has markers and pencil crayons and stuff that they're using all the time. So that's what that's the method to my madness here.
So Kathy just said she just got her first serger, but she hasn't used it yet with nervous face emoticon.
Oh, well, Kathy, I know it's intimidating because a serger really, it goes fast, there's a blade, but it will change your sewing life. So, yeah, I mean, I can run something on the serger if you want to see it, but you're really going to love having a serger. Okay, so here's what I've got here. Maybe I'll just back up for a second and and go through the instructions before I get too far ahead of myself. Okay, so the supplies we need tonight is we need exterior fabric, so the outside of the pencil case. And then we want the inside of the pencil case to look cute too. So I'm going to use white on the outside, and I'm going to cut the little birds out with this cute green. Thought that would be cute. There's going to be like tabs on the end, like the pouch. See, like this little tab here. I'm not going to put this hook on it, honestly, because I don't have one, and I'm never going to hook this to anything, so I'm just going to leave that off. I'll use the tabs. I'll use this nice kind of coordinating green with the bird, and then I'm going to use this gorgeous red as, like, when you open it up. And there's two reasons for that. One, this is going to be, I love this red. It coordinates perfectly with the green, and sort of the ivory white color. But also, I'm going to use this for pencils and markers. And if something leaks, you're not really going to see it on this dark, sort of big floral print. So, there you go. So, I'm going to start with my embellishment. And then I'll get to measuring what we need. So, with the embellishment, I'm going to actually iron on. I'm going to use this I said this for the embellishment, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to iron on some of this Heat and Bond. This is good for applique. Basically, it's going to make my fabric iron on. I'm also going to stitch it, but this is going to really help stick it to the fabric. So I'm just putting this down. I'm going to take it to the ironing board. And when you're ironing things on, like with like a fusible anything or iron-on anything, take the steam off of your iron. Oh gosh, I'm low on water. But still, take the steam off of your iron because you need a dry iron. Even my crappy iron will let me do that. So how's everyone doing tonight? What kind of crafty projects have you guys been up to lately? I want to hear all about them. Anybody doing any actual sewing, or is everyone still like in paper mode?
Oh, one woman saying that her daughter is making project bags and that she likes putting the ring on the tab so she can stick the bag on her finger when she's hauling a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh,
so maybe you can make the tab big enough
yeah,
for
I'll
that?
make the tab bigger. I don't have any hardware and I didn't bother to go and buy any. So that's a good idea. I'll make the tab a bit bigger so at least I can put my finger through.
Oh, glad to have you back, Missy. She lost her internet for a second and had a panic.
Oh. I know lots of people sometimes when I read the comments later say, oh, it's not working, or usually, I hate to say it, but usually that's your internet, not mine. Ours stays up, we'll get a signal, or it'll tell us if we're off.
I think only one show has it come up that there was a low quality signal on our end.
And the one show that I had to film myself.
Oh, but that was because it was on the floor under the desk.
That's right. That was just a gong show that day. So what have you been up to this week, Sarah?
Nothing crafty. Work has been very busy, so I've been approved to do overtime.
Oh, that's
so
good.
I've been putting in extra hours.
All right, I'm just plugging in the Gemini here and getting out my plates because, and quilters will love this, or anybody who does any sort of applique. Cutting out fabric is tough. It frays. It's not an enjoyable thing. But these dies, these are the mixed media dies, and they are thicker and deeper and hardier than your average thin metal die, even though they sort of look the same. Are you okay? You look
Yep,
like
it looked like it was popping off
Oh,
the
okay.
stand, the phone.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to lay this down, and you can see I have that sort of iron-on backing on this, and I'm going to cut right through, and I'm going to find a little spot on the fabric that I think is going to look good for the bird. So see how it just sort of got some red in the tail. We're going to leave his face. I don't want this like kind of on his face because I think it's distracting, but I think if it's just sort of below, that's good. And I'll cut out a little one. Not sure if I'll use the little one, but I'll cut him out anyway.
So you're saying that mixed media works, but definitely, have you tried any of the other dyes? Like, it definitely wouldn't work if you...
Well, yeah, it does not work. I mean, why don't at the same time, you want me to cut? Here,
well, only if you
we've done
have the
it
space.
before. We've done it before, and it never really works. But I'll do it so that you can see the difference between the mixed media, which is like the deeper dye, and like a regular dye. All right, hold on.
So some of the projects people have been working on was getting some of their Christmas card, or sorry, their Thanksgiving cards done, because American Thanksgiving's in a few weeks. Yeah. Some people are starting their Christmas cards in the next few days, and one woman, sorry I can't remember who posted it, but said that she just got her craft room finally cleaned up. So
oh, that's so
that's
exciting!
such a feat.
It's so exciting when your craft room is clean. Someone let me know what that feels like.
Yeah.
I'd like to experience that feeling someday myself.
Martha's helping her granddaughters with something, but she can't tell the secret because her daughters are watching. So.
Ooh, yes, because Christmas, you know. Okay, so this is just a regular, this is a Spellbinders regular circle die, thin metal die. So I'll put that on here too, and we'll cut it at the same time, and we can see the difference between all of them. So I'm sandwiching it up. So if I were to try to cut this, like fussy cut it, like by hand, I mean, it would help to have the paper backing on it, but there would be no point. You would ruin it, especially if you were going to try to get a shape.
So Miriam's been going to craft shows. She says one down this month, one down, 2 more to go this month. So Miriam, what are you making for these craft shows?
Yeah, you got to tell us because Sarah, my sister, has been trying to convince me for years, really.
Yeah, actually it has been years.
Yeah, it has been years. To enter a craft fair, like bring stuff and actually sell it and like try to make money.
And I've even offered to help make a bunch of stuff. I'm not that bad.
But what if no one buys anything?
Well, then whatever. We've got a bunch of gifts to give people.
Okay, let's take a look here. All right, so these ones fell out right away. This is the mixed media die. And this didn't do too bad for just a regular die.
Still some frays though.
There's still a little bit of fraying, but that's not. But you want to know what? It's because we have the paper backing. So that's a good tip. If you don't have the mixed media, try to put a backing like this on, because you can trim that up. That's still good. Honestly, that's pretty good.
So it's possible, but
it's possible.
Be ready to recut.
but this is a really good cut. Those look good.
Why do you put the base plate on top? Does it work better?
I like putting it on top because I like putting my dies, I like being able to see the die when I put it down on the material. And if you do it the other way, you've got to put your die face up and then your material on top. So I kind of work it the other way so that I can see what I'm doing. Does that make sense?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to you, but...
No, but I would do the same thing if I was using my Janome.
Alright, so I'm going to put
Gemini.
Yeah. Between the Gemini and the Genomes, we're really...
We got a lot of craft
Got a
tools
lot
here.
of craft technology at hand.
Yeah. I think it was Vicky just asked if we're from Pittsburgh. Actually, we're just outside of Toronto in Ontario, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we have a similar sounding accent, but maybe.
Do we have an accent?
Well, she
even?
said, am I picking up a bit of a Pittsburgh dialect? So.
No, we're Canadian. Ha ha, we're Canadian. I'm not even going to bring it up, but that's all I have to say.
And somebody's asking if you think there'll be deals on the Gemini for Christmas. Do you have any inside scoop on that?
You want to know what I heard?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm supposed to. I think the Gemini is going to AC Moore, which is a craft store in some parts of the U.S., and somebody's negotiating some sort of big bundle deal at that craft store. But we don't get AC Moore here, so I was only sort of half listening. But yeah, I think there's going to be a deal there. So I'll put, once I hear for sure, I'll post it. But to be honest, I'd watch out for Black Friday deals. That's what I think people are going to start looking for.
Well, I'm going to New York for Black Friday, and I'm guessing you're going to send me, because basically anytime I cross the border, Jen's like, do you think you guys could swing by my mailbox? No, the mailbox and pick up stuff you've had sent to the U.S.
I know, because it's hard to get like kind of all the nice crafty things that I like to get in Canada. Like, it's tough. The shipping is tough. There are some retailers. I'm going to do a list for Canadians who are watching of where you can buy the stuff in Canada where the shipping isn't insane, because poor us, you know, we have to pay an arm and a leg for shipping. So anyway, I actually use a mailbox in the U.S. and anytime that we go there, I send random craft things to it. So
I just want to make note that Beth just mentioned that she's from Charlotte Lake, Ontario.
Hi,
so
Beth.
I don't know if she knows our family, but
of course she must.
Yeah,
she must.
But
Beth,
hi, Beth.
I think I know who Beth is. Is that Carol's cousin? Maybe. If it is, say yes. If not, well, that's a coincidence. But I think I know who Beth is. Okay, so in the pattern here, it says we need exterior fabric, which is going to be this white, interior lining, which is going to be this red. We need the fusible interface, which is this. Have you heard of fusible interfacing? It basically will allow a floppy cotton like this to become really stiff by ironing it on the back. And similarly, the way we did here, by ironing it on it, it's going to allow the pencil case to really have a box-like shape. And so if I was trying to make a pencil case out of this, and let's say this is where my zipper was, I mean, it's going to be very floppy. So this is a cool kind of thing that if you're new to sewing, you might not realize that's how that fabric gets stiff. It's not like upholstery fabric or any sort of, you know, really expensive heavy fabric. Everybody's just ironing this fusible interfacing on. So I'm going to cut it the same size as my exterior fabric, and bear with me when I do these cuts, because I'm not that great at paying attention, and I'm not that great at measuring, so talking and measuring is probably too much for my intellect.
Then I won't ask you a question.
Okay, go ahead, ask me a question.
Missy's just wondering, because her internet cut out, if you could repeat why you use the base plate on top.
7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I use the base plate on top because when I'm cutting something, like let's pretend I'm cutting something again. So if I'm taking this die and then I'm putting down like my material, like let's say it's this one, I like to be able to position the material where I can see it. See, like this? If I were to do it the other way, like, and start my sandwich and go this way, I would have to put my die here, and then I'd have to put my material over it, and I'm not totally comfortable not seeing exactly where it is. And then I'd put it here, and then it would, do you know what I'm saying? So that's why I do it that way. It's so I can see better.
Jackie mentioned you could use it when making purses, and actually that backing...
Totally. You use it for purses, you use it for collars, you use it for anything that needs to be stiffer than just your plain old quilting cotton.
And I'd say, wasn't it last year at about this time that we did our wallet project?
Yeah, we made wallets.
Yeah, and we used those.
Yeah, we totally ironed this on because you can't find, like, you can't always find cute fabric in the weight that you want it. So this comes in all kinds of different weights, and it's very cheap. Like, I buy it by the bolt. And it's made by Heat and Bond. You can buy smaller just rolls of it too. You don't have to be like so hardcore and get this. You can also just buy it like at the fabric store where they will cut you the size that you need. And it's very inexpensive. So it's a good way to turn inexpensive fabric like quilting cotton that has like kind of all the cute designs into something that's much hardier. Okay, so when you're cutting, this is what I always do when I'm cutting. You need a roller cutter. Don't use scissors. And you need a self-healing mat. Duh. I was trying to think of what that was called. Self-healing mat. And I'm just going to cut out, I'm just going to always measure over like 1, 2, I'm going inches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And then you're going to line up your ruler with your cutting mat. And so if you're new to sewing and cutting in this way, or if you're a quilter, you'll definitely know this. See how I'm lining up the edge of my ruler? You can come in here, Sarah, and show. I'm lining up the edge of my ruler, and I'm lining up the lines on the ruler, and then that way I really know everything is squared off. And I'm doing it at all points. So this line matches all these lines here, and then I'm going to run my blade, my rotary cutter, right along, and then that's how I'm guaranteed like the perfect edge. Huh, perfect edge. I mean, I say that. I say I'm guaranteed a perfect edge. But 9 times out of 10 I'll like sneeze or something and it'll go off. But that is how you avoid the no. Alright, so I'm just gonna iron this on. Is everybody still with me? I know we're not even at the fun part. We're gonna be here all freaking night at this rate. Sorry, just stay with me. Stay with me, I promise it's going to be a really cute little pouch. And you'll want to make one too. And you'll realize that you will be able to whip this up so much faster because you're not going to be yakking the entire time. Alright, so I'm just ironing this on. I put it back to so there's no steam.
And sorry, are you ironing on the fabric side or?
I'm ironing on the fabric side.
Fabric side.
Yeah, I guess I could iron on. I can't remember what the rule actually. Yeah, fabric side. It feels wrong on that side. It kind of catches. Yeah, it kind of catches. But you will notice on this sort of interfacing that there is kind of a shiny side. That's the adhesive, and then there's sort of a grainy, softer side. Yeah. What?
I was like, can you leave that iron on there for so long? It's like white fabric, it's gonna burn.
No, this iron, like, honestly, barely does anything. Like, why don't I just buy another iron?
I don't know why you don't.
They're not that
Maybe you
expensive.
should order some more fabric instead.
That is a good idea, actually. You mock me, yet you shop the fabric store.
I sure do.
Why don't you,
I can't rationalize buying my own fabric. You've got such an obscene amount you'll never ever get through. I feel like I'm doing you a service by actually removing
I actually
some.
said to someone this week who was over here for the first time, Tamara's mother was over, or Tamara's mother was over, and hopefully you're watching, hi. And I was like, there's really no amount of projects that I could do in my life that would require this much fabric.
Well, with the amount of time you have, no way. It's not like you have 24 hours a day.
But it's not a rational thing, really. It's like I like buying it, I like picking, and I like having it at hand so that when the mood strikes.
That's how I feel about yarn. But truthfully, I have just used my willpower and said I cannot buy more yarn until I make more projects because I don't have enough time to sit. So it takes me a long time to do it. But I feel the same way. I see yarn and I just want to buy it.
Yeah, Sarah's a better knitter than anything else.
Anything that I've ever been trained in my life.
You know what I mean. She's a good knitter is what I'm getting at. Alright, so I'm going to cut
Crafters are hoarders is what Helena says.
Crafters are... Okay, while I cut this, you can show the fabric stash. I'll turn the light even so that everyone can everyone can take a little peek at the madness.
Bev says her mom always says you'll live as long as it takes to finish all your projects.
Oh,
so
good.
We will live forever. Well, then I need to stop working so hard on all my to-do lists.
I also saw something that said don't die with your fabric. Because sometimes we tend to like get these like cool papers or cool pieces of fabric or whatever it is, and then we hoard them and we don't use them, and it's like, well, what's the point of getting it if you're never going to use it? Because you think like, oh, I'm going to use it for something so special, but really you should just use it for whatever you happen to be inspired to use it for. Otherwise, it might just sit there for decades.
Tryon, I honestly do go shopping for fabric in there, and I'm not sure if she would ever miss it. I do kind of know some of her favorites, like not to touch, like the ones with the little kids on it. What's that one?
Yeah, I do love that one.
Yeah, like I can tell which ones will be her favorites,
Yeah,
from her style.
Yes, I do love that one. Okay, so I'm just trying to cut this again. Same size here. 10. I'm going 10 by 11 here. So how many people have cut fabric in this way before? I've often tried to cut paper in the same way, but haven't really had much luck. Because I find it like pretty efficient, but...
How do people normally cut fabric if they don't cut it that way?
I don't know. They try cutting it. When I first started, thought I should use scissors, but I was wrong.
Actually, didn't Grandma use scissors? Like those huge scissors?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are big fabric scissors that you can get that will totally... But to get that long, even cut, you know what I mean?
Do you remember those scissors? I was so terrified of them.
Yeah, you were not allowed to touch those.
She used to tell her cat...
What?
Our cat would be meowing when we were little, and she would say, "Stop that meowing or I'll cut your tail off."
I don't remember that.
Well,
that does sound like something she would
totally
say.
Something Grandma said. Crazy. Anyways, it always made me so scared that those scissors would cut my fingers off because I always pictured the cat's tail getting cut off.
Oh yeah.
Just for the record, she never did anything inhumane to the cat, but I just remember that.
Sometimes it just makes you feel better to bark out threats.
Yes, fair enough.
At children and animals.
And that cat wanted milk all the time.
Well, that was her fault. She should not have given it to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, I want to give you a tip when you're using fabric. You want to square up the edges. Otherwise, things will start going wonky. So, I did the one side, and you can see here, so, like, it kind of is hitting the edge, but not hitting the edge over here. So just take the time and square it up.
Oh yeah, some people are saying they didn't know that you could cut this way. Some people said most of the time they do, but it's way easier than scissors. So I guess it's a little mixed batch out there.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's helping.
Okay, so you do square it off, sorry.
I'm squaring it off. Even though I'm only taking off that tiny little sliver amount, it's enough that now I've got a totally straight edge, and that's what I kind of want to work with.
Yeah.
That is what I want to work with.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, exactly. That is the ultimate goal. I wonder if we're going to have to do this project in, like, 2 sessions. If it's going to be too long or what.
Can you speed it up?
I'm trying! I'm trying, okay?
It's okay, I'm not bored yet. It's fine.
No, people just tell me if it's just getting too tedious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, don't tell me. I'd rather just, be
know that
ignorant.
you logged off.
Yeah, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to know. That's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Sorry. I know. If I don't do it right, then I'll do it wrong. Right?
Oh, Diane, I'm glad you like listening to us talk, because as I was telling that tail cutting story, I was like, oh man, I've started down a path I can't return.
Yeah, now I have to tell animal abuse stories.
Well, nothing actually ever happened to the cat. We treated that cat wonderfully.
Yeah.
We gave her milk all the time.
All the time. That cat had more milk than we did growing up.
Yeah, honestly.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. it did. It's true. Yeah, it's true. Grandma never petted me with her foot. No,
Ever.
Our grandmother lived with us growing up.
I think that's why I remember, is because I was still home for a little while with her when I was like in kindergarten.
Yeah. And now, she didn't really teach us like tons of crafts, but
oh my goodness, yeah,
she was constantly knitting, and I remember like going into like the church basement in Sharbert Lake. That's where she was. That's where she kind of spent most of her life. And they're like going to like quilting bees and seeing all the ladies in the church basement.
It's true. She never overly showed us, and probably because we were so young still at that point, but
she was constantly knitting in the rocker.
But she did, she was always knitting, and she did quilt all the time, and she baked and cooked often. And even though we didn't necessarily learn those skills at the moment with her, but it's like they're still ingrained in us because we still are very interested in doing the crafts, cooking our own meals, you know.
We're definitely like, I don't know. I wouldn't really say I'm that domestic. If anyone looked upstairs right now, they would be like, that is not the home of someone who's domestic.
Oh, there's so much more than just cleaning.
Because it's so untidy right now. But I do love it when it's tidy. And I do think that we got a lot of that from... And Mom, too. But Grandma was... But Mom was working, right? Like, she had to work, and my grandma was often home with us. And, yeah, she was always knitting socks and mitts and all kinds of stuff like that. What's going on? Who's down here?
Oh, my husband, Aaron. Aaron, come here!
Gotta go.
Oh, he's running away! I should have switched the camera on him. He came down to give me a wink and check on how things were going, so...
Okay, so this material here is going to be for the tab, and I can't remember who gave me the good suggestion to make the tab a little bit longer, but I am going to do that, and I'm not going to add the interfacing, the stiffness to the tab, just so that, you're right, I can get my finger in there, like, a little easier. So I'm going to do, what does the instructions say? Maybe I should look at the instructions. This is I have a terrible habit of getting a pattern and then kind of going rogue. So I don't know if anyone else does that, but maybe that's why half my things don't turn out. They don't pay attention. I go rogue. Anyone else go rogue? You can't do that in knitting, or else you'd really be up the creek, right?
Doreen's wondering what you're making. Dude, where's the...
Okay, so for anyone who's just joining, I am making this little pouch for my markers, for my colorista markers, because I'm constantly taking them either on the road or to like a soccer game or swimming or something like that, and I'm constantly having to take them out of my nice marker storage to bring them with me. And so I'm going to make this nice little pencil case or marker case, and in doing so, try to show you guys some sewing tips.
This isn't melted on all the way, just so you know.
Oh, okay, that's all right. Okay, so before I get going, in the pattern it says to fold so this is my exterior, this is my interior. So this is going to be the lining on the inside when I unzip it. I chose a zipper that I just had in my stash. It's a 14-inch zipper. It's a little bit long, but honestly it really doesn't matter if your zippers are long, because you can just trim them. Yeah.
You just trim them from the top, I'm assuming?
Yeah, exactly. So that's my zipper.
Cindy, Jen's going to post the pattern following this so that if you guys want to follow along. You're not going to be overly giving the dimensions and stuff right now, right?
No, well, I don't think it's going to really help anyone. And honestly, look at what I've done with this. Look at this. Jeez. Look at this. Like, this is what's happening while I'm talking to you guys. That one side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One side's right, and one side is not right. Good thing I caught that before I sewed it on. Jeez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so I'm just going to cut an inch off here.
But I remember you cutting 11, being like, yes, 11, correct.
Who knows what I did? Look what I just did. Ow! Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, being this hardcore is really damaging.
I'm like bleeding now. Okay, let's just... Everyone is bearing with me. I don't have to rush. right? Right, guys? This is not worth severing a limb.
Kimberly's saying maybe you should do a giveaway with your bag, but maybe we should see how this turns out first. She just did 11 inches.
This
Sorry,
bag
I'm shaking the
comes
camera.
with
I'm laughing.
a zipper and drops of blood. So that's great.
Diane wants you to go slow on the zipper lesson.
Yeah. For sure. I know there's lots of people who will be interested in the zipper, and
she cheated in home ec. She had her mom do the zipper.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's cute. That's so cute. Okay, so I'm folding this.
Yeah, someone just said get a Band-Aid.
Okay, there's a Kleenex. All right, I'm folding this in half, lengthways, and that will be important later. I'm just gonna, whenever you can, iron a seam into what you're sewing, do it. Because it really helps. Always iron, and if you can, if you have the patience, pin. Ironing and pinning, key. I think I'm probably supposed to iron this one too. How am I doing here? Come on, coagulate.
I might have a Band-Aid in my purse.
That's alright.
They're saying you need a cutting glove.
I know.
We used to wear those at Wendy's when I worked there when I was younger.
Oh, yeah? Sarah, my sister, used to work at Wendy's, like the fast food restaurant, in high school. And she has very red hair.
Yes.
And the manager there used to make her dress up as a Wendy.
Yes.
And, like, greet customers and...
Every Monday, and it was called Fun Day Monday. And I had to dress up and
Fun
like...
Day Monday?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I had to take Polaroid shots with the kids sitting with
cute.
me, dressed up as Wendy. But the thing is, it's cute, but when you're in high school and those Polaroids are plastered all over the restaurant that you and your friends go to for lunch, you know, it's only so cute.
Yeah.
But I embraced it. I'm not easily embarrassed in that way.
What we wouldn't have done for $5 an hour in high school, right?
Oh, that's so true. Or a free Frosty.
Yeah, I in high school worked at Baskin Robbins and developed a very strong right arm from... It was like oddly stronger than my left arm by the time I'd finished working there for 2 years. So, yeah. All right. So we are going to get to the zipper. Has this stopped bleeding? I gotta... All right.
So many people are saying that they keep Band-Aids in their craft room. I guess apparently
really?
Cutting yourself is a regular occurrence in the craft room.
I
guess there's a lot of paper.
It's true. And I'm constantly cutting myself on the tin foil in the kitchen. That's my worst. All right, I've got to start looking at the instructions here, or I'm going to just be up like the river. Okay, so the first thing it wants me to do here is, okay, so I've pressed my interfacing into the fabric. I am going to, it wants me to do the little tabs. So it's saying to next fold the tabs in half, bringing the short sides together. Okay, so back to the ironing board.
Are sewing machines needed in this project?
Yes, I will get there. Oh my gosh, I should have, I know, sorry. We still have people with us?
A few.
A few? Alright, I'm folding these in half.
Yeah, Diane says, at least you know the blade on your cutter's still good.
Yeah, it's real good. It's good.
Okay, so what are you doing? You folded it in half, and now you're folding it in a quarter? Is that what you were just about to do?
I'm just going to check here. So fold tabs in half by bringing both short sides together. Next, fold each half into the center.
Yeah, so a quarter. And any idea how many markers will fit in there? Like, will a whole pack?
Yeah, I think all my Colorista markers that are, I've been currently using my daughter's school pencil case, which is why I'm planning for all of these markers to fit in.
Is this easy enough for a newbie sewer?
This is a total beginner pattern, although I'm making things look a bit harder than they need to because I'm talking too much, honestly, and I'm not paying enough attention. But yes, a beginner can totally do this. And there's also enough techniques that someone who has a little bit of experience won't be done it right away, because we are going to put a zipper on, and so that's, you know, a little extra sewing. Okay, so there's one tab, and the reason why I've folded in the center, you can see I've ironed over, folded in the center, and that's just so that I have like a nice seam on the sides, and that none of those edges, none of the fraying is going to get out. And so I'm going to just come and bring this to the machine.
Doreen asked for how much for one. I'm not too sure of what she's referring to, whether it's the case or...
How much for one? One what? I'm going to show you how to thread a machine, in case this is something people don't know. Somewhere on the top of your machine, you've got a place to put your thread. And for me, it's right here. And you're going to have, if it's a sideways one of these little knobs there that keeps the thread in place. And every machine sort of threads in the same way, some variation. And you can see there's 1, 2, 3, and they kind of...
Show 3 again.
3's right here. So here we go. On my machine, and on yours will have some sort of variation of this too. I'm going in, around this loop, down, around.
I can't see that. I'm sorry.
Up. There's always like this letter N sort of shape that you can do. And wherever you're getting down towards the needle, there's these hooks. Make sure you hook in. Kimberly says, this is a nice sewing machine. It is a very nice sewing machine. I would need to pay someone to make that pouch. Is that what...
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't. You can do it. I swear. If I can do this and talk to you guys at the same time, being like, I'm fairly novice, you can do it too, for sure. A lot of these machines too will come with this adjustment that allows you to sew at a certain speed. Like if you're new, you can go slow, and if you're pretty good, you can go fast. So that's something to think about too. So I'm starting with my needle down, and I'm just going to do a couple stitches, and then always you want to go backwards 3 or 4 stitches. That just locks your stitches in place.
So you have a button to push, right? To go backwards?
Yeah, something's wrong here. So my bobbin is underneath here. Might as well just show you that while I'm here. And the new machines are really great, and now I'm threading up the bobbin, making sure both come out the top. You want the bobbin thread from, that's the thread that's going to sew from underneath. You want both threads out on your work surface when you're starting.
So you don't need to remove those stitches, or did nothing go in there?
No, that's okay. This is it.
Okay.
So I'm starting there. I'm going to go back. I have a little backwards button. Sometimes you might have one at the side that pushes down, but it'll be there somewhere. I'm going to go back a few. Because I know the ends are going to go sort of folded inside, I'm not so worried about whether I go totally back. I'll do a couple back stitches just to be safe. This machine also has automatic scissors, so when you press it, it cuts the fabric for you. But a lot of machines you'll see have like a little pull, and this one does too, a little knife at the side. You can pull your fabric up and cut it at the side there. So I'm just sewing both tabs.
Backwards?
I'm not doing any backwards. I'm just trying to get through this for you guys.
Okay. But normally
you could go backwards, but I also know the seams are going to be hidden inside a sewed seam when I fold them over, so that's also going to lock the stitches in. Okay, so our little tabs are done. Snipping off the frays. And now we're going to get to the zipper part. So for the zipper, we want to use a zipper foot, and I'll show you that when we go over. But for this, pull off the tag from my zipper. I'm going to center this. Both of these are right sides up. You can see it's hanging over the edge. That's okay. And now I'm going to take my exterior fabric with right side down and go right along the edge. Just going to get my pins and pin this in place. And so basically what I'm going to get in the end is sort of, well, you'll see. So get these lined up.
So you're lining it up to the far end of the zipper, or
I'm lining it up to the top end of the zipper. So the zipper is going to be in the seam.
Yeah.
So that when I fold it over,
Yep.
We're going to have these two pieces of material, the outside and the inside, on the edge. And now I'm going to use these sort of, I like using these, I have quilting pins here, but I also have these glass head pins. And the glass head pins are kind of good because you can go over it with a hot iron, and then this doesn't happen. That is from ironing a pin with a hot iron. But the glass head pins, they can take the heat.
It looks like it used to be a butterfly.
Yeah, I think it used to be a butterfly. So now is when I can talk to you guys about like adding the zipper. So every machine usually will come, even the basic machines will come with a zipper foot. And so inside my little, can you see my little drawer here? Is where I sort of keep all the feet that I have. There's like, you know, buttonhole, walking foot for quilting, those kinds of things. Button, you know, 3/4 inch seam. This one is the zipper foot here. You'll recognize the zipper foot because it looks small and there's really like no edges to it. And the back of your machine will have some sort of lever that will easily allow you to take off and change the feet. So I'm changing this to the zipper foot. The zipper foot really allows you to get so close to the zipper. A regular foot would, you know, your stitch would end up being over here, but a zipper foot, you'll see, allows you to literally place the foot right along the zipper. And that's really the only difference in the zipper foot. And you can see I'm going to move the needle over. So it's going to, you can use either side. And I'm going to go forward and I'm going to make sure I go back my stitches here all the way to the end. And now lots of people run over their pins. Sometimes I do. I try not to, just so I don't break my needle and keep everything in better shape. But pulling the pins out as I go. And you can really kind of feel that the zipper is literally right on the edge here. Other people have the same melting problems, I'm noticing. We're not alone. This struggle is real. People are ironing over their pins every day. Then I'm holding the rest, just like, don't be like, you know, use your fingers, use everything you can to keep everything in place. I'm just going to go slightly over and then back. And then my scissors. And I'm going to go right to the ironing board. And so now you can see how this is already starting to take shape. How the outside and the inside are kind of coming together. And basically you're always wanting to be ironing down the seams as soon as you finish with them. It locks in the stitch and it just makes everything a lot neater as you go.
And now, do zippers melt from the iron? Like, do you have to kind of be careful? Or
I am being careful. I mean, it is plastic, this, so I wouldn't keep it here too much, but I'm just going right along the edge. Okay. Look, my iron's not even on. Ugh. It like has, this is the worst iron. Probably wouldn't turn off if I forgot it. Burn down the house instead. Alright, but that's that. I know. I'm doing both sides too here. I want to make sure everything's nice and even. We still have some residual heat, so it's fine. And then I want to lock it into place. I'm going to go right over top. And so over top of what I've just done here. Does that make sense? That way we're holding it into place and then nothing's going to move around. Now, this project, because we've got like cute coordinating colors, it would look cute if I sewed this in like a cute lime green thread or a red thread. And maybe I should so you could see the stitches better. But unless you know you can sew in a perfectly straight line, use white. Use the lightest color you can so that it really does sort of hide any imperfections. Because if I had like a little wobble here, that would be very obvious. And I kind of do. Like, it's a little closer here than it is right there. But that would be, it's pretty uniform here. But it would be very obvious if I was using a red thread. You know, just how wonky my sewing skills were. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your thread colors.
Betty says top stitching.
Yes, top stitching. That's what that's called. Okay, so now I'm going to do it again on the other side. So in case you missed it the first time, we are applying the zipper here. And I'm going to lay this
So zipper down. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Zipper side up. This is facing down. Make sure we're lined up. And then I'm just going to pin it.
And the right side of the fabrics are facing each other.
Right sides together, yep.
Yeah.
Right sides together. All right. How's everyone doing out there? Are you hanging in there? So 2 people on.
No. We have 80, like we're hovering around 80.
Oh, that's great. Honestly, that's great. As long as, and feel free to, and if you guys want to ask other questions about other things while we're in the midst of doing this, that's totally fine, because there's lots of talking we can be doing while we're working. We may as well hang out and socialize, right? All right, again with the zipper foot, you can see how by using the zipper foot, I'm able to get nestled right against that zipper there. And I'll just move the blade or the pin over, or the needle over, so that you can see the difference. If I move it over, your machine will have that kind of function, and that'll allow you to operate on either side of the zipper foot. And now I'm going back 3. And now I could run over that, but I'll take it out. Messing up my bobbins there.
What would make your material gather off if it goes through the needle? Does that make sense to you?
What would make...
Like maybe she's talking about making a gather?
Like if you wanted to do like a ruffle or a bunching?
I was thinking if it was a mistake, but maybe...
Okay.
Maybe you could re-ask that question.
Well, sorry, okay, so just so I am thinking about it while she's asking, tell me again what her original question was?
How it would gather off if it was in the needle? I think that it said that.
I don't know.
It's long
Okay,
gone now.
just clarify a little bit more, because I want to answer your question. Okay, so and while you're writing, you can sort of see how this is sort of coming together.
And
the outside and the inside.
Awesome. Betty's wondering if you're going to teach your kids how to sew.
They already use the sewing machine constantly. You can see over here, even on the embroidery machine, Violet has her name written in there the last time she was at it. And we have a Hello Kitty Janome machine. Where is it? It's like just sitting up there, on their side of things. And they have forever sat on my lap and sewed. It's been really kind of sweet. And Violet made her own little quilt out of square blocks, which was really just straight sewing them together, and it was totally wonky by the end, but honestly, I should post the video, because talk about like self-esteem building and confidence building. She finished that and hugged that blanket and slept with that blanket that she made, It was so sweet. And, like, yeah, she would not have gotten that feeling from just buying a blanket at the store, I can tell you that.
So I think lots of people are answering the question for you. They're saying the tension may have been off, or the machine may have been threaded wrong. So maybe that's an answer to that other question.
Typically, if your thread is bunching, especially if, yeah, it has something to do with the threading, I would try to stay away from touching your tension too often. I don't know enough about your tension, honestly, but I can tell you if the thread is bunching, it definitely has something to do with typically how it's threaded on top. It's like a common problem. Okay, so I've top stitched, and so you can kind of see it's looking pretty good here.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I flipped it. I can't find the zipper. There we go.
So you can sort of start to see what the bag, when we get it going, is going to really look like. All right. These are all my bobbins, different color thread. Okay, let's go see what it says to do next. Oh, so it wants me to sew over my seams. So I'm going to bring... The other thing I'm going to do before I get this too far along is I'm going to iron on, while I've got this open, I'm going to iron on my little embellishment here.
Oh, you're doing the white on the outside. I don't know why I still was picturing the red on the outside.
So remember that we ironed on this paper backing? This is just like sort of an iron-on interfacing. So I can just literally peel it off, and now it's got this sort of sticky. So I'm just going to take it over to the iron and do that now. Should we put the little baby one on?
Yeah.
Want baby with mama or baby on this side?
I like with mama.
Baby with mama? Behind? In front? Behind?
Let me see.
Front?
Put it behind now. Both looks good.
Alright. So dry iron again. And when you're sewing, it's not like ironing a shirt where you're moving the iron back and forth, back and forth. You're really pressing. It's like, it's this kind of a motion. It's not, maybe you're dragging it a little bit, but it's not an ironing motion like back and forth. It's pressing.
Is the bird dye available on HSN, and is it new?
It's kind of new. I presented it when it was new, maybe in the spring or early summer. So the mixed media dye, they're called mixed media dyes, and so it's relatively new. And I think it's on hsn.com, yeah, or maybe on the Crafter's Companion website. I'll link to it after this, so that you know exactly where to find it. Okay, so I've got that on there now, and I could, if I wanted, just sew right around. Maybe I should do a little bit more. I'm gonna sew right around, just so that it's nice and secure. It also sort of gives it that homemade kind of look with the stitching right around it. So I'm going to switch back.
Jill wants to know if, aren't you worried having the white on the outside that it's going to get dirty fast?
Yes.
Can you wash these actually?
Yeah.
With that backing?
Totally. This is all, it's all washable. It's all totally washable. Yeah, I am worried that it will get dirty, but I tend to choose things based on like how it will, like how cute it is versus
Not
how
function.
practical it is.
She's not really a function kind of person.
No, I'm not. But I mean, feel free to choose that. I mean, I did choose the inner lining fabric.
That's true, so that the ink will...
So that's
why I thought you were putting it on the outside, because you were saying the ink won't show through.
No, but I'm going to be holding the markers on the inside.
Okay, wait. You are sewing this on now.
Yeah, I'm
I
just
did
putting
not
this...
expect that.
Yeah, I'm going to, like, stitch around this for just sort of extra... And because it's going to look cuter with the little stitches.
And this isn't hard to do?
Does it look hard to do?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have
I'm
to try
going
it.
slow. I'm putting it on, like, a slow speed, so I can't even go fast, even if my foot, like, makes me.
Okay.
When you get to a corner, and this is true if just you're sewing even a square, lift up your foot, turn your fabric. Don't try to take the corner like on its own. Literally move the fabric, like, and then move the fabric. 1, 2, get one more. And then move the fabric. That's how you get those nice edges. Don't try to like navigate right through a really sharp edge. That'll look bad.
I hope you guys can see this okay. It's kind of a challenging angle to get the sewing machine, so I'm behind it right now, just obviously because Jen's body's in the shot if I'm on the other side of her. So hopefully you guys are capturing what we're trying to show, or I'm capturing what we're trying to show.
I can hear somebody's getting out of bed upstairs. All right, so I'm definitely gonna do just a couple of back stitches. And so, see, that looks cute with the thread around it, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't too hard to do. Now, this one is going to be a lot of, like, it's even smaller, but the same rule applies. And you can always use your wheel at the side here. You don't have to always use your foot. And just go slow and move the fabric. Move the fabric.
Thanks, everyone. I'm glad. I was worried about trying to get in here. It's a tight corner, this one. You can actually really see the stitching on the larger bird in this right now with it right here. It looks great. It looks way better than if you didn't and it was just stuck on the fabric.
It looks more like homemade, more sewn, more finished, a little more polished, I think. All right. What's happening? What's happening?
What do you mean?
Oh my gosh, I've dragged my material like through this little box of bobbins. Okay, just move that out of the way.
So that's got to be rewound. But
annoying.
It's like around the sewing machine.
Like, what have I done? Like, seriously, what is wrong with me?
It's red, white, and blue. A nice little shout out to our American viewers.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Just flick the camera.
Alright, we're good. We're good, we're good, we're good. Alright, I'm just going to take off my little friends here. So see how this is going to kind of come together? It's going to start to look pretty nice. What time is it? 9:08. Okay, so do you want me to keep going, everybody?
Probably.
Or I can kind of, I did make one of these earlier today and kind of fast forward a little bit and get to the good stuff.
What's the good stuff? Tell us what that involves.
Well, it would basically be well, let's see what we have to do next. We have to pin the edges. So why don't I just do the edges here, and so I'm going to pin each side together like this, because now I need to sort of make the guts. And then I'll sort of do the reveal, so we're not on here for like 3 hours tonight.
So people are saying keep going.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going. All right, fine. I'm gonna remember you said this.
Well, it's good. The people that are still here are into it.
Okay,
so that's important.
Thank you guys. I know. Well, I mean, I did tell people it was sewing night, and it's not like even a quick sewing project is still a project. Like you'll dive into it. You know, this is gonna take. You know, we'll be close to an hour and a half, but that's pretty good for a full sewing project. You know what I mean?
While talking.
Yeah, while talking, while injuring myself, while screwing up. You know, haven't had to use a seam ripper yet, so that's something.
That is something.
It is something. Like, it's actually remarkable because, yeah, I constantly have to, and I constantly jab myself with these pins, like. I don't know. Maybe I'm just accident prone. I'm also, like, inherently kind of careless. So, maybe that's it. Alright. So, I need to make sure I leave an opening, maybe 3 or 4 inches on my liner fabric, because at some point I'm going to have to turn this inside out. And so, I want to make sure I remember, I'll do that right now, I'll leave this opening. And I'm basically just using a 1/4 inch seam. And lots of sewing machines come with a 1/4 inch foot, which will allow you to have a 1/4 inch seam like perfect every time. I'm just going with the edge of my regular presser foot here, and it's about a 1/4 inch.
So now, have you ever watched any videos on YouTube before for learning how to sew or use sewing machines, or have you just always used the videos that, or the tutorials that come with your machines?
No, I constantly watch YouTube videos.
Oh, so you do? Because I watch YouTube videos anytime I hit something in a knitting pattern that I don't understand.
Yeah, YouTube, they're great for like, oh, I'm not quite sure how to thread, I can't remember how to thread my specific machine, or what happens when, you know, but they only take you so far. And if you're buying a sewing machine, I'd recommend getting it from a sewing machine dealer, because oftentimes they will give you, there, I just sewed that just straight. If you buy from a sewing machine dealer, they usually will give you a lesson.
Yeah, that's what somebody earlier in the evening said.
Yeah.
Don't buy a sewing machine unless you can get a lesson or it comes with like a video tutorial or something.
Like you and they're really, like, I've gone to the sewing machine dealer before.
Did you leave your gap?
Oh, crap!
Jill just said that. I didn't.
Ah! Okay, well, there comes the seam ripper. There's no way I can leave the gap on the interfacing because it's just too thick. So, well, this is a good chance to show people how to tear out your stitch. Honestly.
Yeah. Good reminder, Jill.
Okay, well.
At least someone's paying attention, eh?
Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to take it from the middle.
One sec.
Okay. Get a few started here, and then I can open it right up, typically, and just try to rip it. I always end up, like, putting a hole in my fabric or something like that. But it's really no big deal to rip out some stitches. Like, it really is crazy making when you have, like, an entire quilt that you have to, like, you know, the whole side of a quilt you've messed up or something like that, but this is no big deal.
So wait, are you going from the center and taking all of it out, or?
No, I'm just taking like a few
where
inches
the gap
out.
would be?
Yeah, where the
gap. Okay. But won't that make your stitches loose later, or? No,
well, I'm gonna go back.
Ahead.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go back at the end and sew this up, and so I'll just make sure I get the edges there. It's no big deal. It's fine.
Oh, I trust you. I do.
You do?
All my crafting knowledge imparted by you.
Yeah. You know what I forgot to do is go over my zipper. So I'm just going to do that quickly right now, even though I should be doing this. Most sewing machines will also do this. And this is helpful if you need to use something that's round. So here I should have gone over my zipper before I cinched it together, but I forgot. So I'm just going to do it. Whoops, make sure my zipper is open on that side of it.
Okay, so you opened the zipper.
I opened the zipper because if I didn't open it and I sewed there,
yeah,
then my zipper wouldn't have been able to open.
Okay.
So I'm just going to make sure that it's open. And this is why I'm telling you, if you don't have the right size zipper, just use one that you have anyway, because you can just sew it shut at the right spot.
And this is sewing it shut?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see I'm going over it a couple of times, like back and then forth. And that's because I just really want that to be extra reinforced. I mean, it's the stop for my zipper, so I'm paying a little extra attention to go back and forth there. And same with here. You know what I forgot to add? The little,
Can I grab them?
what is that called again?
The tabs.
The tabs? I totally forgot to add those.
Can you not add them still?
I'm trying to think if it might be too late. I'll just leave it without it. I'll just leave it without it. Where are they? Let me just see. Basically, I would want to put it just... I guess it's not really too late. I can put it here. All right. I'll do it. Fine, I'll do it.
How will you ever carry it if you don't have the tabs?
I know, but I also made them too small.
It's also a little bit of flare.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Oh, look what I almost did. So I'm just gonna put that in. This is really great for if you're doing sleeves or jeans, like pant legs, to be able to have this. And this is what.
What's that called?
Well, the arm. Yeah, and like I think that's what it's called. And this is what if you didn't get sort of a very, very basic model of sewing machine. All right, so this is pretty thick, so I'm going to take it a little slow. If you didn't get the basic model.
Oh, free arm is what.
Free arm, yes. Free arm.
Beth says the suspense is killing her. Hazel, you're just joining us. Jen's making a
Pencil case, like a pouch for my markers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I guess I don't really need to answer that. Sorry.
That's fine. Okay. You did a much better job at answering it than I ever would have.
Sorry. I totally did not need to just step over you there. Okay, let me grab the other tab. Hazel she's normally right on it.
I know, she said she missed the first hour.
Oh, first hour. Jeez, we're going to be here until the wee hours.
Don't worry, we have another hour left.
Okay, it's not totally quick, all right?
I'm hoping it's like 25 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna hurry up. Like, cut me some slack here. All right, yeah.
Now, it's a little extra awkward because you could have done that beforehand. Is that?
Yeah, I should have done it before I cinched the seams at the end there, but.
How long have you been sewing? Kimberly wants to know.
Well, I'd say, I mean, I took like home ec in high school, like most of us. But I think I got kind of serious about sewing once I got my first like place to live. So maybe 10 year, 11 years.
I feel like you bought a sewing machine so long ago. Did you buy one in high school?
Yeah. Like I've had one for a long time, but I would say like I really started, like I made all of our curtains, and then I would make like the kids' clothes and sorry. Sarah's like, you gotta keep making this while you tell your stupid stories.
I'm like never gonna speak to her again.
Get done.
Every week I'm like, Jen, you gotta keep doing your project while you're talking. She like stops and just wants to have a conversation.
Sorry. All right.
It's because no one's usually hanging out with her in the craft room. That's
I know, it's
chatting
so fun
with her.
having you guys here. All right, let's get this all lined up now because we're gonna start smushing it into a sandwich. I've been sewing, I don't know how long. I don't know.
A long time.
A long time. You'd think I'd be better.
I think you're really good. I mean, I guess compared to me, like, what do I know? But I am always impressed with the stuff you've made, like the nightgowns and stuff for the kids, pajamas for Exie,
Yeah, I do make a lot of, like, stuff for the kids because, especially when they were super, super young, because they didn't complain. But now sometimes I spend, like, all night making them something, and then in the morning they see it, and they're like, I don't like that. And I'm like, what?
Tough.
I made it. It's not like the store where we're just not going to buy it. Like, it's done. You're wearing it. So, yeah. But most of the time, they really love, like, wearing stuff that I've made them.
Well, and I see you've got a pattern for doll clothes over there, and so those are always fun things that you can do instead of buying doll clothes that's, really only so useful.
Exactly. So I'm pressing this all down big time here because I want there to be lots of seam marks.
Thanks for joining, Susie. Bye, Cindy. Hopefully you guys will be able to tune in and watch the rest of it.
Yeah, or I'll post a picture of the final product so those of you that have to like get to bed or who've had enough or are ready to watch something else can see what it finally turns out like.
Missy's saying, ugh, doll clothes so tiny. But
so fast,
there's a specific brand of doll that kids often wear the same clothing as the doll. So to make things a little bit cheaper, it's nice to be able to make the clothing for both of them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's see where we are. I think I need to sew. I don't want to get too far ahead. Like I'm doing some of this by memory and some of this. So it says, now's a good time to make sure your zipper is open.
Missy says the doll that will not be named. It's
Yeah.
so true.
We are having that doll. Let's just call it
A doll.
a non-Canadian doll.
It has a different passport than I do, doll. Yeah.
Yeah. But that doll is very popular in this house. And it's my daughter's 8th birthday this weekend. And so we're having an American Girl themed party. I know. Whatever. I said it. I don't know. And so I'm halfway through making this insane cake. So if anyone is interested in watching me roll the fondant and do the final decorating on the cake, let me know and I'll do a live or something like that. Like maybe Saturday afternoon or Saturday mid-morning. If people would want to watch, I'll totally do a live and you guys can watch me decorate the rest of the cake if you...
I can come and tape.
Oh, that'd be so good.
That's why I'm asking when you're doing it.
So we could do that. We could do it then.
Yeah. Some people are saying they'd love to see it. So, I mean,
crafty people are crafty people. They're not sort of all one-trick ponies, So
well, you're certainly not. You've got tons of skills.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
Jen just tends to go through a fad of like one type of craft and then gets onto a new one.
For years I was like so into cake decorating, like big time. All right, so
I feel like that's when the obsession started with crafts. Actually, was that first mat leave? Yeah.
When I went on my first because what are you gonna do? Like, you gotta do something.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
take
there
care
is
of
a baby
kid
to take care of also, but other than that.
Laura, the doll that we're talking about is American Girl.
Yeah.
Doll. They're very pricey.
Yes,
but kids love
very
them.
Popular.
Yeah.
And so I've made a couple of things where, and just sewing the edges of both the inside and the interior and the exterior now, and it's just basically a 1/4-inch seam.
To each other?
I'm sewing them together, not to each other, but to themselves. Yeah, so we've made a lot of like matching doll and girl clothes, which is so precious and sickening. So just so you're basically gonna have 8 edges here, like the lining fabric and the exterior fabric. I'm just sewing all the edges here. I'm trying to start from the zipper and go down. I should have pinned this so I'm not like... Okay, I better pin this. I need to... I've learned that mistake, or I've made that mistake so many times that I should just do it.
Jenny's saying fat quarters are great for doll clothes.
Yeah, totally. I love fat. I mean, you pay a little bit of a premium for fat quarters, but when you can find them on sale, do it because the fat quarters are really great.
So what other kinds of things do you like making? I know you've made a really cute apron for our other sister Amanda ones.
Lots of aprons.
The kinds that have like little flair on them.
Yeah.
You made the kids' aprons?
On my blog, I have a bunch of sewing projects. So if you wanted to check out my blog, it's Tryon, a Homemade Life. Like my last name, Tryon, Tryon, ahomadelife.com. So there's some sewing stuff that I've done up there. Lots of aprons, tons of curtains, like curtains out the yin-yang.
What about your quilt? We were all going to hold you to the quilt. When did you say you were going to complete it by? By Christmas? Probably, because it's your Christmas quilt.
Yeah.
From last Christmas?
Yes.
Just last?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last.
So we all need to
hold
her accountable for that.
I gotta sew the Christmas quilt for sure. But yeah, I've made lots of quilts. Like, not lots, but maybe 4 or 5 quilts. 4 quilts.
Oh, you made that huge puff. What do you call that?
Oh yeah, like those
chair
tuffets?
for Emery? Yeah, the tuffet. Yeah.
You know those tuffets that kids can sit on? They're kind of like beanbag chairs, but they're like more circular. Yeah.
So lots of things. Nothing that's your favorite though.
I love making quilts, but you have to really be...
Oh yeah, somebody asked this earlier. Sorry, I think it was probably Betty again. What's the name of the quilt block that you have?
Up there?
Yep, on the wall.
Swoon.
Swoon.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. It's Thimble Blossoms. Camilla Ross Kelly, Bonnie and Camille. That's the same Bonnie and Camille that makes this fabric. Like, I'm a super fan. So yeah, she has great quilt patterns. She's got great fabric patterns. I love her stuff.
Jen, do you want to tell Michelle what you're making?
Michelle, are you just joining?
Yeah.
We are making a little marker pouch. since we all are typically paper crafters around here and have lots of markers and pencil crayons, I thought since we're doing a sewing lesson, I would make something that I could use my markers for. So I'm always sort of taking them out and about, and it's kind of nice to have a case for them. Because I'm always taking them out of the marker storage that I keep on my desk and kind of flinging them in my bag, and this way I can kind of keep them all together, and maybe I don't always have to put them in my marker storage.
Jackie says you said the blocks would be off the wall in 2 weeks now.
I did say that?
And it's 4.
Oh my gosh. Oh
no, but
my
then she
gosh.
says I understand life happens, but I'm not saying
Yeah,
that.
I'm not going to have those done until...
So do you want to just, okay, you're sewing the ends, you said.
I'm sewing the ends of each of the layers. So we've got the exterior and the interior fabric. So basically it's 8 ends because there's the interior, 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 exterior, 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 exterior.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm surprised you don't sew them together.
Yeah, well, you probably should, or there's probably some pattern somewhere that you do that with,
but just not
this pattern didn't say to do that, so I'm just trying to follow it and be a good...
Oh no, definitely follow it.
Be a good sewing citizen.
What type of quilt would you recommend for first timers? Is there any styles, like just square or
so for like a patchwork quilt.
Oh, patchwork.
Yeah, because that's just like your oh no, it's the pin. Phew. I literally thought I sewed it together like this. But it was just the pin.
I've been wanting to, and I said this for a while, I really want to make a case for my knitting needles.
Oh, yeah, with like the little, it looks like a pencil crayon.
Yeah, or
case.
like my makeup brush case. Like
yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of
that's
thing.
so easy. That's such a good beginner project.
Yeah, because you kind of just need like an elastic.
Yeah, or just fabric. You don't even need, But yeah, a patchwork quilt is great for beginners, and it's great if you use a charm pack. If you're a beginner and you don't want to do all of that cutting.
What's a charm pack?
A charm pack is usually a 6x6 or 5x5 squares that are already cut for you. And then you literally can just sew them together and make your quilt front.
Oh, that's good. That's a little bit speedier.
It's very fast. I'll just quickly show you what a charm pack is. So like...
Oh.
So you can buy like a collection. So you can see here, these are already cut in squares. So you would just put right sides together and sew, and then another one, sew, another one, sew, and you would have like a patchwork like in no time.
Why do they cut it like that, just for flair?
No, that's so the edges don't fray with the pinking shears.
I really like that fabric.
It's nice.
I want a quilt in that.
Yeah, it's nice.
Jelly roll quilt.
A jelly roll is, this is a jelly roll. So a jelly roll is long strips. And so you would, so for example, if you look at what I sewed on the cupboard there, those are strips. And so they come in a roll like this. And so they're pre-cut into these strips so you don't have to cut them. And so, yeah, that's super helpful. That's a jelly roll. And there's things called a layer cake. A layer cake is sort of a 10 by 10 inch square. Looks a lot like the charm pack.
Oh, this is similar to the one you just showed.
Yeah, it's the same line.
Cool. What's going on there?
Okay.
Oops, sorry.
So in order for me to get the box type shape that I want for this pencil case, I've got to like nick off the corners. And so basically what I need to do, remember when I ironed this earlier? Let's go to the ironing board. This is going to become much, I'm basically, well here, I'm right here now. I'm going to just fold this
like
in this seam. Yes, exactly. At about the 2-inch mark. Come on over to the ironing board and I'll show you. So I'm just going to measure 2 inches down. I'll line this up with that crease that I made earlier when I folded it in half. That way I'm always everything's going to be lined up perfectly. This is a fabric pen. It's erasable. It just sort of fades off. So you can use it to mark up fabrics. Like, see how it's putting this circle at the, or circle, this purple mark. I'm tired. That will eventually fade out. So you can see I have to do this to all the seams. So this is sort of the most tedious part. I'm sorry. This is going to be the part where everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is too much. But bear with me if you want to see the reveal. I just need to...
Is there a giveaway this week?
Yeah, I'm going to give away the mixed media dies.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so you know the little bird?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a picture on the Crafter's Companion Facebook page. So if you like it and share it, and leave us a comment, you will be entered. And you'll get your hands on these mixed media dies, which are so, so handy. They cut leather, denim, burlap.
And it's
like,
the birds, or is there other...
It's the birds, and there's another one. There's two of them that they're bundling them to give them away. I think it's the butterflies? Yeah. But the picture's on the Crafter's Companion, well, this page, right probably underneath where this live is. And, yeah, so I hope you will leave a comment and like the page, leave a comment, and you will be entered. I hope you'll go and like my Facebook page, too. I'm loving all of the people who...
Like your Tryon a Homemade Life Facebook page?
Yeah, exactly. Because... every time I kind of do something crafty, I post it there. And no matter what it is, even if it's like, you know, like I said, the cake. Like I made a cake this weekend for my nephew, a Pikachu cake. Lots of people commented on it. And so if you want to be up to date on what kind of crafty projects I'm up to, you can go to my Facebook page, which is Tryon a Homemade Life. Or like Jennifer Tryon, you'll see it there. And like my page, and you will be totally up on all the crafty things I'm doing throughout the week. There's always some major projects going on, and this week's going to be my daughter's birthday, so there's lots of decor that's going to be, I'm going to do, there's lots of, like I said, the big cake I'm going to do, second cake in a week, jeez, because I did the Pikachu cake too.
Did you bake all the cakes at once?
I baked all the cakes at once, yes.
Gosh. You
You can totally freeze cake. You just put it in saran and freeze it. It's great. You can totally freeze cake.
So what part are you, sorry, what part are you sewing here? I can't see.
So I'm sewing straight across
Oh, the line.
the line.
And I guess you just got to make sure no other fabric's sitting underneath.
Exactly. And that you sew your seams open.
What does that mean?
So instead of letting this fall to one side or the other, I've sewed the seam open. Thanks for hanging in here, guys. I know this is a long kind of project, even though it's the kind of project I think you'll be able to do relatively quickly. It is a relatively quick sewing project. I know it's a long one for you guys to watch, and you know, card making is so much quicker. And we won't do these ones that often, but a lot of people have asked to see a sewing night, so here we are, and we're in it now, so I'm so glad those of you have hung around, are doing so. I really appreciate it. So feel free, while we're here late together, if you have any questions, shout them out. Sarah will ask me, and we'll try to get to them. Did I forget to do this one, or I just didn't pin it properly? I think I just didn't pin it properly. Why don't I, because basically I'm just going to I'm going to twirl this around, and it's going to look like, so I'm just going to do this one last side, and then I'm going to do the reveal here.
People are liking it. They're saying it's helpful to see the steps so they know what it's supposed to look like if they go back and do it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, because
for visual learners.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it is the kind of thing that, sewing's the kind of thing where it kind of seems like it's a dainty sport. but it's not. It's a hardy one. It's the kind of thing where you have to be like okay with like ripping things out and really bending the seams and, you know, making it fit into the machine. Like, you know, don't be afraid to bend your stuff backwards and fold so that you can get the angle that you need to get. Like, you have to not be afraid to like, move your stuff around.
Jill said maybe if it's going to be a long sewing lesson, you could always do it on a weekend day.
Oh yeah, that's true, because everyone's got to like, get up and go.
And Lori says, I've spent 4 hours making a card. This is nothing.
Oh, good. All right. Well, I feel better. Honestly, I love this group so much because
they're very forgiving.
I know. And they're, you know, I think and like, I'm a crafter like you guys. So imagine if someone said to you, do you think you could make a pencil case live? and then you were just like, yeah, sure. And then you were like, what have I done? When you're like 2 hours in, like, it's not done yet. Crap. All right.
We're not 2 hours in, are we?
No, but we got to be there soon. Okay. So basically, you want to cut off these edges.
I'm interested to see what it is you're doing here and how this is going to work out.
Leave about a 1/4 inch seam. Because what I'm trying to do is achieve the box-shaped bottom. And if I hadn't done that, I'd have like a pointy bottom or a long, thin bottom. But what I want is that box shape. So that's why you have to kind of, you can see how I've pushed my corners in, sewed through, and now I'm just getting rid of the excess material. Oh, I forgot one. Jeez. How is that possible? I know. See, rid of the excess material. Okay, and now, so once you've done that to all the sides...
Are you going to sew that one or no?
No. Once you've done that to all of the sides, you've got them all sort of cut off. There is the gap that I left to turn it inside out.
So you don't have to do that to the white then?
You don't have to leave the gap for the white.
Sorry,
because
the sides.
What?
You didn't have to do the corners on that one?
Yes, I did.
Yes,
I did the corners on that one as well, but it's like 4 more of the same motion.
So do all 4 corners.
Do all 8 corners, and then flip it right side up.
Oh, so cute.
And then get the iron to it quick.
Oh yeah?
Well, not quick. I just mean like it's going to be wrinkled from being so manhandled. Do you know what I mean? So, sorry to block the view. But get your iron. Try to get the seams popped. And you can see that boxy square.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did that to the corner. Look how nice and deep this is now.
Oh, it is nice and deep. I like that.
Yeah.
So really, it doesn't have to be a marker case. It could be...
It could be a makeup case.
Yeah, makeup, scissors, whatever. You know, like toiletries.
Yep. And this is the kind of thing that you can make any size. Like, the technique is the same. Just make sure you have a long enough zipper, and you're going to be good.
I like the color of that zipper you put on this one.
That darker.
Yeah, that's good.
The steam's going to help here because sometimes it's hard to get in all the little...
Now, have you ever used your steamer? You have like a big stand-up steamer. Have you ever used that before?
Yeah. I
Not
use
as
it
good?
No, it's good. Well, no, you can't use that if you want to press your seams, but I've used it on quilts like at the end, so I'm not ironing at all.
Yeah.
So see, I'm just going around with the steam here and pushing out all my little, you want to have these pointed out. Don't leave it like in. You spent the time, me as well.
So there's nothing that's like other than the major seams attaching the 2 layers of fabric. It's not like you've ironed them together with a sticky something or other.
No.
Okay, cool.
And it's just, can you see?
Yep. Let's see the little guy on the front. Aw.
So now let's see if it fits my markers.
Yes, Lynn, it would be a great Christmas gift. I think
and
something like this, for sure, you could give to somebody.
especially if you're getting them like a you know, like let's say you were getting somebody like a coloring set, like the Colorista set, like
or even just
little,
a coloring book and
coloring
some
books.
pencil crayons. So the corners are on the sides of the bag, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's nice and deep. I've got basically, I'd say 7 full packs of markers in there. So there's at least probably 40 markers in here.
And space.
And there's lots of space even still. I'm gonna iron that up a little bit more.
Jill wants to know where the baby bird is. Jen just switched over to one that she has finished, so you didn't have to watch her do each of the individual corners. Because you'd have to do it 4 more times on each.
Yeah, and we're getting so late.
But I think she'll probably still finish this.
Yeah, I'm still gonna finish it.
So she can post the final view of it.
But it looks, it's exactly the same.
This is the shape and everything. It's just the magic of TV.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I made this earlier today because I wanted to make sure I could do it and that it wasn't going to be too hard. And when I got to this point in the lesson where I had to do all 8 sides, I thought, oh gosh, people are going to like really hate me.
Lori made a good point. If you use the right kind of zipper, it could be reversible.
Oh,
I like that idea.
That is a good one. I like that idea too.
So when the white gets dirty, inevitably, you get well, on this one, the red, and the other one, the green.
Exactly. Okay, I'm going to just finish this up here, and, I mean, you basically are getting a sense of, well, this is exactly
Are you
going
going
to
to give one of them away?
Does anyone actually want this? I don't know if it's, like, good enough.
I don't know. I think it is. Does anybody think that this is good enough for a giveaway? I'm going to guess I'm going to get bombarded with yeses. Cindy recommends using Scotch Guard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good call. That's totally a good call. I don't have any, but that's a good call.
Yeah, we're getting some yeses, so I think you should give at least one of them away
right.
if you're keeping one of them.
Whichever one turns out the best, I'll give away. So why don't we do that giveaway? Since you guys have hung around to the end, we'll do that giveaway on my Facebook page. So if you go to my Facebook page, I'll post a picture of the final products here. And if you share it and like it, and like my page, you have to like the page. I'm bribing you to like the page, basically.
What happens if they already like the page?
That's fine. Then they're still in. Because
so don't unlike it and relike
no.
it.
You don't have to unlike it. And
we're trying to get some good numbers here.
Yeah, I want you guys to be in the know. So, like my page, and I'll give away one of these pouches. I'll send it to you.
And it'll be a second person, not necessarily the one that wins the die cuts, right?
No. The die cut, whoever wins the bird, like the mixed media dies, that'll be a separate giveaway on the Crafters Companion Facebook page. So head over there and you'll see a little graphic of the mixed media dies. So if you like that one and leave a comment, you will be entered to win. So thanks for sticking around so long tonight, you guys. I'm going to just finish this up, and if there's any other questions, just message me throughout the week, and I'll post maybe Friday night what time I'm going to roll out the fondant on that cake this weekend. So if anyone's interested in seeing the final cake come together, or the process of using fondant on a cake, I could do that live on Saturday afternoon. So maybe we'll see you then. What do you think, Sarah?
It sounds good. It will be there's a lot of stuff. Like, is it a high detailed cake?
Well,
it might need a time-lapse video instead.
I know, it'll be another one of these videos.
Yeah.
No, we can't be doing it all day. I'll get most of it done and kind of just show you guys some quick techniques. So if you want to try it at home, then you can, and you won't have to waste your whole Saturday on this. Just long enough. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, we'll see you guys then.
Okay, night everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.